All right, moving on to our next segment, we will proceed to our live Q&A session. We have invited 3 panelists to take part in our Q&A. I would like to take this opportunity to thank them and quickly introduce them. We have Ashish Asaf from SA Consulting and Forwarding in Delhi. We have Deirdre de Klerk from the Go Global Group. That's a bit of a twin cluster. We have Kevin Brady from the Woodland Group in representing Ireland. Thank you, and let's get started. Okay, so if I can start off with Kevin. Kevin, are you with us? Can you hear us? Kevin, are you with us? Maybe we should test their mics very quickly before we begin. Kevin, are you with us? We can't hear you. Maybe you can quickly try and fix your mic. Ashish, are you with us?
Yes,
okay,
very
you're
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deirdre?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Marvin?
You can hear, okay, we can hear you as well, so it's all good. Kevin? Have you been able to sort out your mic? Yeah, I think Kevin is still having some trouble, so we'll leave it to him to fix that. Deirdre, maybe we can start off with you with the first question. How has COVID impacted your business and in particular the perishables vertical in a positive and negative way?
Thank you, Marvin, for the opportunity. Firstly, very fortunately, we are classified as essential services company, and our core business is perishable cargo, mostly fruit. And fortunately, with the type of virus that COVID is, fruit is seen as something that's beneficial for your health. And we actually had a very good year in terms of South African export of South African fruit to the Northern Hemisphere in its entirety. So whilst the impact is terrible on the world, on the people of the world and of Africa and South Africa, us as a company, we fortunately moved great volume. We've been very blessed. In the Go Global Group, we have 9 different companies, business units, and with the exception of maybe 2 of them, we all did exceptionally well because fresh fruit is our core business. So we're very grateful for that. And we're also very grateful that South Africa went into a hard lockdown very early. So we, percentage-wise, our cases and our deaths, fortunately, thankfully, are very small. So overall, COVID didn't impact us negatively in terms of the volume exported. It of course impacted relationship-wise. We learned that we couldn't get by with a lot less international travel. And a lot of our staff could work from home. However, we also realized that was good up to a point. But you cannot take away that benefit of sitting face to face with somebody and forming a relationship and understanding and relating to each other that you can do across the desk or across the table. So, yeah, we're looking forward to, I don't know if you want me to speak any further.
Okay, great. Ashish, maybe you want to take over and talk about the impact it's had on your business and especially on the perishable side of things and generally its positives and negatives.
Yeah, of course, Melvin, Being in logistics business is the biggest positive during these unprecedented times. And essentials and farmer-related movements were happening even during lockdown stages, isn't it? Vis-a-vis many other industries, logistics remained active and alive during the course of the pandemic, bringing challenges to innovate further in terms of sustainable and uninterrupted supply chains. In terms of negativity, I would say in terms of cash flow exposure increased heavily due to the escalation in freight rates when the margins didn't improve that much, which is a negative impact in terms of business. Volumes also dwindled during initial lockdown phase. Probably the air freight rates shall move further northward as currently ocean freight rates are flared up globally due to lesser deployment of capacity and equipment imbalance on many key trade lanes. Yes, it is a bountiful time for carriers which are carrying lesser volumes and making higher profit. Positive situation for air freight carriers and few carriers as well. That's my take on this.
Okay, great. Thanks. Kevin, have you been able to fix your mic?
Can you hear me? Aha. Hi. I thought you were just muting me. Keep me quiet, Mel, yeah?
Right.
Good afternoon, guys and ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Yeah. The positives. We start with the positives, I guess. I think, I think it's something you mentioned earlier, Mel, actually, which I think is brilliant, is that I think we're all now globally looked upon as an essential business, right? And something which is really holding supply chains together. So I think we've all got to take a positive from that. I think that's a really good positive thing in what's been a pretty crap year. Let's all agree to that, yeah. But I mean, I think from a Woodland Group point of view, we've actually, and you're nearly frightened to say this, actually, we're having a really good year, but we're probably going to have a record year as a business. I guess you've just got to be careful of what company you're in when you say that. But yeah, I mean, our business for the last 4 or 5 months has gone through the roof. Obviously, we do a lot of PPE as well, which has done really performed well for us. F&B again very strong, especially in and out of the US. Has certainly been a bright spot. We've got a couple of guys on the call here who I'm sure will be talking to the partners as well. But yeah, F&B certainly for us, beverage, chill, reefer work, we certainly be a core area. I think on the negative side, I thought about this, and I think really, we've got to say a strain on our people. I think it's been a really tough year for all our staff, right? Everybody's in a surreal situation, and everybody's struggling in a lot of cases. So I think we learned a lot through this period about how we've really got to treat our people and really look after our people in all the situation. So I think that I like to think we've learned a lot of lessons there. And obviously the one thing which is a major problem at the minute, I'm sure we're going to touch on is space in Europe. That's been I'm reading emails here and the situation is deteriorating by the minute, I think. So I think certainly the equipment space, certainly out of Asia, has been a massive, and still is a massive challenge for us.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, maybe we can move on to our next question then. What do you think are some of the changes that you believe will stay with us after the pandemic? Deidre, we can start with you again. Deidre, can you hear us?
No, she's muted.
Okay.
It's just the mute and unmute is controlled from your side, Melvin. So okay, I'm open now.
Okay.
As I said, I think there's a lot of functions within all of our companies which we have realized don't need to be on site.
Right.
So, and I suppose that is only really effective if you have the correct management reports and material in order to ensure that your deliverables are still being met properly. also, I think international travel, we've all done our business, and as we've heard, in a lot of times, way better than previous years without international travel. Since Berlin, I think. And the same goes for us. But by the same token, I do believe that the face-to-face meetings and negotiations and things are not replaceable forever. I think you're going to need to have your face-to-face meetings, and then you can have some virtual meetings. But I don't think it will replace face-to-face meetings entirely. I think it's going to do so for a while still. You know what happens in the rest of the world, and it's the same for every country, has a direct impact on what happens to me or to us or to any other company. So we're only as good, our supply chains are only good as long as people have buying power.
Sure.
So if the rest of the world goes into a complete lockdown and people lose their jobs, as has been happening on a large scale in many places, are they still going to be able to import? What are they going to import? Medicines, probably, firstly, and then foodstuffs. So I think we need to be responsible going forward, because quite honestly, none of us really know how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of uncertainty. I think we need to be very responsible. We need to be very proactive. We need to protect our staff and our companies wherever we can, and still deliver a top-class service where we're fortunate enough to still have a demand. I think it's not the time to be complacent. I think it's not the time to be arrogant. I think it's a time to be very, very grateful and to make sure we do what we do in the best and most cost-effective way for our clients.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. Ashish?
Yeah.
What do you think are the changes that will stay on in business and life?
Okay. Probably a lifestyle adjustment is the phase we are going through, I believe. And a lot of people have downsized their operations and stuff like that. But then what I feel is that downsizing is not the right word. I would say right sizing, is something we should all look at, In post-pandemic scenario, the thanks will force society, businesses to accept restraints on mass consumer culture as a reasonable price to pay to defend ourselves against future contagions and similar disasters. Post-World War, for decades, humans were having an outsized appetite for an ever-expanding swath on the planet with our industrial and commercial activities, which shall now go into a reset mode. Probably a new set of business industries may emerge with a conscious approach on the environmental impact. Probably it is a good time for humanity to think about sustainable progress in real terms, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I give this question some thought, actually, and I think really the thing I wanted to mention today was, I think, the real change which is happening now with regard to the single sourcing situation. A lot of products in China, for instance, right? Especially with what's happened with COVID and what we're seeing unfolding here, right? So certainly from a Woodland point of view, we're going to be giving a lot of focus to that, right? Because already a lot of our customers are asking us or talking about de-risking their supply chain by, especially these guys who are single sourcing in China at the moment, to look at other areas, whether that be Turkey, Eastern Europe, even Southeast Asia, I suppose, to that extent. So I think the whole supply chain risk management side, I think, creates an opportunity for, I think, everyone on this call, actually. That if we're close with our customers and we're consulting, talking to the customers, we can work with them, to assist them in sourcing, or resourcing in different areas. So I think that change is not coming. I think it's already here. So I think really as an opportunity, I think we've got, with the right approach to clients, certainly a lot of our clients are talking about it already. But for someone just to have a strategy or a policy to source only in China, I think the end was going forward.
Right. Yeah. So the last question that I have here is, when do you think that business would go to pre-pandemic levels? But as we already know from a couple of you, that the business has probably never been better. So maybe you can tell us if you see business, let's say, changing, and if what is then the new norm going forward? And do you see the perishable industry now at the forefront and the leader vertical in the logistics business? So do you want to go back to pre-pandemic levels? And do you see things changing in the coming year? Idra.
Personally, Melvin, I don't think there's going to be much change in the very near future. With various vaccines becoming available and potentially some effective treatments, I think it will start to get better, but I think it's going to be probably about 6 months before we see anything starting to go the other way again. Quite honestly, I think it's still getting worse before it's going to get better.
Right.
In terms of the prevalence of the virus and the fact that they can't make the vaccine quick enough for everyone to get it within the next 6 months. Not going to happen. Fortunately, our products, the perishable products, are in demand. I can't see for at least 2 years that we're going to go back to anything remotely resembling our pre-pandemic normal. And quite honestly, I think it's going to take a lot longer than that. But I think normal is not going to look like it looked a year ago.
Sure.
I don't think normal is going to look like that again.
Right.
Probably for the foreseeable future.
Sure. Ashish?
Yeah, Melvin, as SA Group, we are in a much better position now than we were before pandemic. Like I mentioned earlier, we are lucky to be in the logistics business. That was one of the few businesses which was really doing well, because obviously it has its own challenges though, because of lack of flights available. But I would say, as an overall perspective, an unplanned complete halt of all business operations has already led to a strain in the cash position and working capital. Businesses are likely to require additional liquidity support to restart once the situation normalizes and operation reach optimum levels, to be honest. Hence, to recover and thrive shall require a couple of quarters more to our country. Also, depends on the response and policies here to meticulous implementation by government, banks, financial institutions. I'm saying probably 2022 third quarter can be a time frame to recover back to economic indicators to pre-COVID levels in the country. This is what I feel. But off late, in fact, yesterday I was reading an article wherein, it was really positive to see that India's economy, by next year, they're saying that we'll grow by 8.3%, which is quite commendable, to be honest. And the way we are recovering from being the lowest performing country in the world, the economy in the world, negative 24%, we are recovering quite fast. And keeping my fingers crossed though.
Okay. Yeah, glad to hear. Kevin?
Yeah, I think, it's a $6 million question, isn't it? I think really from an Irish point of view, I just checked there the other day, 13 billion euros worth of export on food and beverage, which is significant for a very small island, right? And I think I was trying to get through this conversation without mentioning Brexit. Well, I'm sorry, but I have to mention the B word, and I see Simon smiling there and shaking his head. I haven't heard the news this morning. I don't know if there's a decision being made, but I think that's the biggest challenge for Ireland is Ireland's biggest trading partner is the UK, and it depends which way this vote goes, which is we're supposed to be getting any time now. I think that's absolutely going to be the biggest challenge. You know, when you think, you know, we got meat, dairy, alcohol, seafood would probably be the top exports. And, you know, I've seen a lot of, a lot of press about, you know, probably over the last couple of years where Irish exporters have actually, you know, found new clients outside of the EU. So they're sort of de-risking that situation, but it's still going to be massive. If there's a no deal, it's a massive problem for Ireland. It's a massive problem for the UK. So I think that's certainly the biggest challenge on the horizon for Irish sector.
Great. Thank you all for your insights. And that pretty much concludes the panel discussion. Thanks again for your contribution, your opinions and views on the new normal. And I'm sure everyone agrees that it was good to see perspectives from different markets around the globe.